Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a quick kitchen reset just so that we can have some ready to grab food items in the fridge ready to go for the upcoming week. So first of all, if you're new here, my name is Haley. I'm a stay-at-home mom to 3 little boys. I actually homeschool the oldest 2, and then the youngest is just a baby. But on this channel, I share homemaking and homeschooling related content. And like I mentioned in this video, I am going to be getting some things ready for the upcoming week. So with us homeschooling, it is so convenient just to have some food items in the fridge ready to go. I'm doing something for breakfast, gonna meal prep a couple different lunch items, something for my boys, and then something for myself and my husband, and then a good homemade snack just to have available for the kids to grab whenever they want it. So we're going to start with some breakfast biscuits. I actually made these in my last video as well, but when you find something that works, you just got to keep going with it. So you scramble eggs and cook whatever breakfast protein you want to go in these biscuits. You combine it with some flour, baking powder, and milk. I am going to put all the links down below in the description so that you can reference these recipes if you choose to. But it basically makes like a drop biscuit dough that you then scoop out onto a cookie sheet, and then you can bake them. And then you have these all-in-one little breakfast biscuits that you can reheat throughout the week. The next thing I'm going to start working on are some baked pork chops. So just laying my pork chops out on another cookie sheet. I like to try to utilize both my stovetop and my oven, sometimes my air fryer and my Instant Pot whenever I'm doing these meal prep days, because I need things to move pretty quickly, because as you've probably seen, my kids are right here while I'm doing this. So I'm trying to get it done pretty quick. I don't have a whole day to spend on it, so just quick, easy recipes. Kind of have everything in the kitchen going at one time. So these pork chops, I'm just seasoning up with some salt and pepper, and then some Montreal steak seasoning blend that I get from Azure Standard. And then they can go in the oven and be baking while I start working on my next item. Now I'm starting on some veggie loaded potato soup. So my oldest son struggles with really bad acid reflux, and we are trying to get a good meal system in place that doesn't irritate his stomach. And we're finding that it's not just like tomato-based products and things like that that irritate his stomach, but sometimes high-fat dairy items can also really irritate his stomach. So this potato soup actually comes from a paleo cookbook, and it is dairy-free. I've made it a bunch in the past, and my kids love it. So instead of using heavy cream or cheese, you just blend up the vegetables, about half of the soup mixture at the end of it, and the blended up potatoes and carrots and broccoli ends up thickening up that soup base, so you still end up with kind of a creamy potato soup at the end of it. I really love this potato soup recipe because, like I mentioned, it has more than just potatoes and dairy products in it, which is kind of how I see a lot of different potato soup recipes look a lot of times. So this has carrots and broccoli in it, and my kids don't complain because of it being blended up at the end. They don't have to eat like huge pieces of carrots or broccoli. If I can find the paleo cookbook, I will link it down below. I've had it for several years, but I'll put it down in the description if I can still find it on Amazon. So I just sauteed an onion, some garlic, added in my carrots, potatoes, some chicken bone broth, salt and pepper, and I'm going to let that all cook. Once those potatoes and carrots are pretty soft, I'll add in the broccoli for a few minutes and let it soften up. It doesn't take near as long. And then after that is when I will put some of it into the blender and blend it up. Now I'm moving on to some apple butter muffins. So these muffins have like an apple spice batter, and then you put apple butter inside of each muffin. So they are a filled muffin. I really have to get a 24 count muffin tin because a dozen muffins barely makes it 2 days around here anymore. So all I'm doing is combining half a cup of sugar, some ground cinnamon, 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder into a large mixing bowl. And then in my measuring cup, I melted down a 1/4 cup of butter. I also added in a cup of milk and an egg, and I just beat that all together. And then I added my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients, mixed it around until I didn't have any big streaks of flour left. And then I started to spoon in about a tablespoon of the batter into each one of my muffin cups. Once all of my muffin cups were filled, I went back with some apple butter and just added, I'd say maybe a teaspoon or so to each one of the muffins. Wasn't real precise with my measurements or anything. I just put a little scoop of the apple butter into each muffin tin. This is some apple butter that we bought while we were on vacation in Tennessee. And then once I had a little bit of apple butter on each one of the muffins, I went back with my batter and just covered the top of it the best I could. And these were delicious. They were perfect for fall with the apple cinnamon flavor. And like I said, I have to get a 24 count muffin tin because I need to be able to make larger batches of muffins whenever I make them. And since I needed something to go with the baked pork chops that I had in the oven, I decided just to do a simple pan of roasted vegetables. So these are frozen butternut squash cubes that I order in bulk from Azure Standard. So you can get a big bag like you see here of different types of frozen vegetables that are organic. So I just sprayed my baking dish with a little bit of avocado oil, added in the frozen vegetables, seasoned them, and I could pop these in the oven. It went perfect with the baked pork chops, and it was super simple and didn't require much of my time at all. So this is the potato soup. I'm adding in some frozen broccoli to it now. Just gonna let it cook for a few more minutes until it softens up. And about this time, my muffins were done, so I took them out of the oven. They were so good with that apple butter filling. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to blend up this potato soup mixture. So I tried to get all of the big chunks, primarily of broccoli and carrots, because my kids really don't like to eat broccoli and carrots in big pieces like that. Potatoes, they don't mind, but I did try to fish out all of the broccoli and carrots. And then you just blend it up, and it doesn't look appetizing when I look at it on camera. The color of it, the broccoli kind of gives it like a greenish color, but I promise it tastes good. And then I like to put some cooked bacon on top of it and just mix that in. So this is everything once it got finished. I broiled those pork chops for a little bit at the end just to give them a nice color. Sometimes when you bake pork chops in the oven, they don't get a nice color on them. They can be kind of pale, but if you broil them for a few minutes, it makes them look much more appetizing. And then all I had left to do was to get everything put into containers and ready to go for the week. So that is everything that I prepped this day. Be sure to check out the description for recipe details and links, and I will see you guys next time.